Hi, I'm Philip, and in this video I want to have a look at the new RevoScan 6 version. So you may have already seen it on like the forum or on Facebook or on the website that they released a new major version of RevoScan. Currently, RevoScan 6 is only for the, it would say, default RevoScan software used by, for example, the Miraco or also the other infrared scanners like the range, and I think it's the Inspired original also uses it. But I guess these update will then also like trickle down to the other versions like Revometro for the Metro X and MetroY series and RevoTrack. So for a baseline, let's start with looking at what's new. So of course we have like new improved workflows, we have new file structure, but we will look in the softwares at this. Then we have a processing workflow, which I quite like. And we have like a new one-click editing settings. That's quite good. And generally speaking, a new redesigned workflow. But let's start with a baseline. And for the baseline, I would say, let's look at the current version or the current style of RevoScan 5. So this is now RevoScan 5. You may already know the design. We have like this settings panel, and here we have the projects. I just loaded in one project where I scanned carbon molds, 3D printed carbon molds that are currently not processed because so here you see the seam lines. It was scanned with Miraco, and I would say this is like the default layout you also know from the Metro X or MetroY and Trackit. So here we now have two scans within this project, and for each scan we have like the raw data, we have the fuse data, the mesh data. And if we now go back to raw and for example we now want to do a one-click processing, we aren't having any control on what exact subsettings are used. So this is was always one of the points that bugged me a bit, and that prevented me from using the one-click processing, because I want to have like control over all settings like isolation, overlap detection, and of course also then the meshing results and the hole filling behavior. So I didn't really use it. The workflow here in the original RevoScan is quite easy. If you do the manual steps, you first fuse the model at either advanced or standard fusing. Then you can isolate like outliers or floating parts in the fused model. You can detect overlap if you have like multiple shells, or after merging multiple scans, there's often the possibility to have now multiple shells. Then you can smooth and simplify the point cloud, and the next step is meshing with all like the post-processing tools. In RevoScan or RevoScan 5, there's also a bit the option to like edit the rendering behavior. So this is actually, I have to search a bit here. This is under, I think, model display, and then show how the points are displayed and how the light source, now here you can like move the light source, but it's all a bit like hidden in the sub menus. But now let's close the RevoScan 5 and open RevoScan 6. And the first thing you will notice with RevoScan 6 is the new layout. I would call it the new color scheme. So of course, I mean, color, it's a bit different now, but I wouldn't call this the main achievement, but I like it. It's a bit more, I would call it professional and a bit more neutral. You're utilizing like larger screens a bit more efficient. So it's quite nice. You also see like the settings moved a bit. So here you have the options. Keep in mind currently, especially for the like RevoScan version, not the Revometro version, this is just like basically the same settings you also could do in the RevoScan 5, but it got moved. We all have the calibration here, and what I like that help and feedback, and also like this advertisement for the forum and for help articles is a bit more hidden, and the focus is on the scan itself. what you're also seeing now, that the scans are now separated into multiple projects. And this is actually, so when starting, my first real scanner was initially the Quality Raptor. Then I got the Revopoint MetroX from Kickstarter, and both of the scan software behave quite similar. So you have you can create one project group, and within the project group you can basically have as many scans as you want in all different scan settings. And I use this from all the time. So if I go to a customer site or custom project, or I do a scan project with consisting of multiple scans from different parts, for example, I would do all in one scan project. And I initially liked it because then all my scans are in the same place, and I'm not leaving, initially thought I'm not losing the oversight of all these scans. Then I got the Rocket, and in the extra after software it's done a bit different, where the scan project you're creating is basically meant only for one scan. You can have multiple scans in it, but all in the same scan setting, and it's meant to be used for merging the scans together to create one scan. But it's not meant to have multiple scans of different parts in one scan project. And I didn't like it initially. But what I noticed that with, for example, RevoScan, if I had 10 or 12 scans in one project, and I gave the project only a title of scans customer side, blah, blah, blah. It could still be that I simply forgot what I scanned, and I had to search quite a lot through the multiple projects. So now with splitting them up in multiple scans where I directly see the preview of the scans containing, it's actually, I prefer it actually. So yeah, that's quite nice to see. Of course, you also have the big buttons on the top. New scan, load project. Load project is actually a good button. So with RevoScan 5, it was missing. I basically had to go in the file explorer and then manual navigate to the project file. So for example, if we go into my scan projects, RevoScan, then hood inlet, there's the .revo project file. And for the RevoScan 5, I basically had to go into the file explorer, and from here right click, open with RevoScan 5 or RevoScan 6 now. RevoScan 6 finally includes a proper load project button, so that's quite good. And yeah, Wi-Fi data transfer, USB data transfer, for example, if you're using the Miraco scanner and to move the project files from the scanner to the PC. But now let's open what's also good. If you now look here at the right-click menu, of course you have the properties. We see it was created with the Miraco Plus, but I can also directly make a copy of the scan. For example, if I want to try something, I would say experimental editing out, I just kind of make a copy and do it in there. But now let's open the scan and have a look at the changes now. So now we're here, and I'm currently seeing the raw data. And what I now can do is I can just maybe create a quick fusion in 1 millimeter. It won't take long, so maybe you can look a bit at the hardware utilization of my PC now. And I guess my CPU cooler is ramping up, or my water cooling is ramping up quite a lot. And it's using, I would say, 16 threads roughly. So this is fine. So let's wait a few seconds more, and then you should always see one of the noticeable differences here with the new update. So here is the original fused version I already did in RevoScan 5. But what's very cool now with the RevoScan 6 version, I can store multiple fused options or multiple fused versions in my project. Of course, this will inflate the project size. So to be clear, this will create a lot of redundant data, if I could call it like this. but this also allows me to have like multiple export versions in my project and later simply open up a project and just export. Same should also apply for meshing. I haven't actually tried it out yet, but let's create a next mesh. And yeah, it also now saves multiple meshes. So as you can see here, and the meshing was quite fast. So this was fast meshing. Normal meshing would take longer, but this is quite nice to see that I now can, directly like save multiple meshes. I can also, open it in RevoDesign. But now let's delete these duplicates. And what's good for the Fusion, it also like directly shows you the settings that were used for fusing. All right. So the core options here on the top for the Fusion, and then for the different Fusion settings, and then also for the mesh processing, they are basically still the same as in RevoScan 5. So the places change a bit and the settings change a bit, but they are quite similar. So they should feel like home. The one major change that I quite like now is here under one-click editing. So I could now just press the one-click, but what I can also do is here, I can basically edit all of the settings used for one-click. So normally what I like to do is I want to fuse, let's say at 1 millimeters. Then I want to remove isolated part under 5%. Then I want to do overlap detection. I don't want to use smoothing or simplifying. I want to use high quality meshing at also 1 millimeter and hole filling up to 50% ratio. And this is then done for like, is saved for the one-click editing for also later scans. So the one-click editing is now, it's run through. And what you're seeing for the Fusion and for the mesh, it also directly tells me what settings were used. So if I go now back to the one-click edit settings, you can see it saved the settings. So if I boot multiple scans here in my group, like here, I can now go to the next one and directly like remesh again with the same settings. So the other big change, I would call it, is this view tab now. That's quite nice. So initially with the RevoScan 5, all the settings were a bit buried in the sub menus or something like in a right-click menu. But what I can now do is like directly here, I can I have the 3D view setting to switch between perspective and orthogonal view. I can set how it is, if I'm looking from back, how it is behaving. And for the mesh model, I can also change directly. It's like, should be displayed as a wireframe or like as a solid. And I can make my like bounding boxes, and I can assign a material. So like glossy, this is actually like very nice rendering, but very glossy. So the dull default setting, different colors. So yeah, to summarize, I quite like this new change of RevoScan 5. So I'm already like very interested how it will also look in the RevoMetro and RevoTrack software for the laser scanner. So I guess they will also bring these changes to them eventually. And one of the things that I'm most excited about is the new one-click editing, because this finally gives me the choice to do like the proper processing